Hey explorer, are you ready to embark on an enlightening journey into the human body? Let's get ready to explore the nitty-gritty of broken bones. What are fractures? Is there more than one type of fracture? What about the jaw-dropping process of how your body pulls off this ultimate healing act? Picture this. You're going about a regular day at the skate park trying out cool tricks on your skateboard. Suddenly, a daring idea pops into your mind and you decide to go for it. But oops, you lose your balance midair and end up landing awkwardly and you hear a nasty crack. Ouch! That less than heroic landing is bound to bring about some painful consequences, don't you think? Brace yourselves as we delve into the depths of the human body to unveil the bone-chilling mystery behind cracks and breaks of your bones. Have you ever pondered the idea that your seemingly rigid bones, the true stalwarts of your body, can actually bend under pressure? It's a bit like trying to bend a plastic ruler, pushing it to its absolute limits and then snap. That's the bone's breaking point right there. A gentle force and your bone might give a little crack. But toss in some extreme pressure, a car crash or a superhero landing for instance, and your bones may just shatter into pieces. In the medical realm, a broken bone, clinically termed a fracture, occurs when there is a partial or complete break in the continuous structure of your bone tissue. In the world of orthopedics, the broken bones are actually classified into several types. Think of this systematic classification like a secret code that guides the healthcare pros to the right solution for each type of break. First up, open and closed fractures. An open or compound fracture happens when the broken bone pokes through the skin, deciding to reveal itself to the world. Doesn't sound pleasant at all, does it? A closed or simple fracture, on the other hand, keeps things more chill. The skin stays intact, hiding the fractured bone within. An open fracture often demands surgical intervention due to the increased risk of infections from the external environment. Firstly, as you can imagine, meticulous cleansing of the wound is required. This process is known as debridement, the removal of all foreign contaminants, such as dirt, from the wound. After the wound has been thoroughly cleaned, the fractured bone is carefully aligned and stabilized using implanted rods and screws. Finally, the wound is closed through stitches, promoting proper healing and reducing the risk of infections. This systematic approach ensures a clear and organized management process for addressing an open fracture. Now, even in a closed fracture, there is a risk of damage to the surrounding soft tissues. Fracture blisters can form within 2 days of the fracture occurring. To prevent further complications and to help the bone heal, the injured part is immobilized with the application of a cast, which is a hard covering made up of fiberglass or plaster that helps in the healing process by keeping the broken bone in place. Now for the second set of categories, partial fractures. This type of fracture involves an incomplete break and is generally less severe. However, it often requires the support of a splint, a rigid device that provides temporary immobilization, or a cast. On the flip side, we also have a complete fracture. This is a more intense situation where the bone separates into 2 or more pieces. This specific type of fracture, characterized by more bone pieces, is called a comminuted fracture. These types of fractures often demand surgical intervention to address the complexity and ensure effective recovery. Now stay with us while we add another layer to our fracture narrative. Fractures can also be categorized as stable or displaced. In a stable fracture, the bone's broken ends align perfectly, no shifting out of place. However, in a displaced fracture, a gap appears between the bone's broken ends, disrupting the alignment. It's the fracture with a bit of a rebellion, demanding attention. Repairing this might call for surgical intervention to ensure proper healing and union of broken ends. Now here's something interesting. Fractures aren't always the result of a sudden impact or a heroic landing. Sometimes they sneak into our lives through repeated stress on the bones. Stress fractures, born from the relentless strain on a specific bone, is common in athletes and are mostly elusive on X-rays. Additionally, there are medical conditions that weaken your resilient bones. Osteoporosis, certain cancers, or brittle bone diseases. When fractures arise from these conditions, they're called pathological fractures, painting a picture of the complex relationship between overall health and bone integrity. Notably, the spinal column becomes a focal point for these sorts of fractures. As we age, bones can become weak and porous from conditions such as osteoporosis, and this is where compression fractures can step into the spotlight, prompting the vertebrae to succumb to the unyielding pressure of time. Now, let us direct your attention to the vibrant world of babies and toddlers, and you will likely discover a unique trait. Their bones, unlike adults, consist of growth plates made of cartilage. These plates are later replaced by the bone when desirable growth has been attained. But here's the twist. A fracture in this growth plate may actually disrupt the bone's proper growth, resulting in a crooked or slightly longer or shorter bone. Have you ever heard of the term green stick fracture? This is more common in children because of the flexible nature of their bones. It involves bending of bone on one side without fully breaking. Picture it like a young, resilient tree branch that slightly bows but doesn't snap completely. Now that we understand the different types of fractures, let's shift our focus to the intricate realm of what happens in your bones following a fracture. When a fracture occurs, the symptoms can vary based on where the fracture is located and how severe it actually is. The most common symptoms include pain. Fractures are typically accompanied by pain in the affected area. The intensity of the pain can vary, ranging from mild discomfort to severe, sharp pain. Bruising. The injured area may develop bruising due to the damage to blood vessels. This discoloration occurs as blood leaks into the surrounding tissues. Swelling. A common response to injury as the body sends fluids to the affected area. It can contribute to pain and a feeling of tightness. Bleeding. In some cases, especially with open fractures, there may be bleeding from the wound. It's essential to address any bleeding promptly to prevent further complications. Limited movement. The affected part often resists movement due to pain and swelling. Attempting to move a fractured bone can worsen the injury and hinder the healing process. Immobilization and alignment of broken bones are key elements to assist bone healing. Angulation. Depending on the nature of the fracture, the bone may become misaligned, leading to an abnormal bend or twist. This can be visually noticeable and may require realignment for proper healing. Additionally, for larger bones like the pelvis or femur, a fracture might make the person feel dizzy, pale, and nauseous. Complications of fractures can involve malunion, where the fracture heals in the wrong position. In open fractures, a persistent infection of the bone or bone marrow might develop. Another complication that could occur is avascular necrosis, where the bone loses its blood supply and dies. Now, let's raise the curtains to the most awaited act in the bone's grand performance of recovery: bone healing. The first step in the healing process is the formation of a hematoma, basically a blood clot, at the fracture site. This marks the beginning of what we call the inflammatory phase. This is when the body kicks into gear with an inflammatory response. Immune cells rush to the scene, cleaning up debris and getting things ready for the next steps. Next up, we have the formation of granulation tissue. This tissue acts as a scaffold for what's to come, laying the groundwork for the repair phase. Now here's where the magic happens. The granulation tissue is gradually replaced by a soft callus, a combination of collagen and fibrous tissue. This soft callus helps stabilize the fractured bone fragments. As time goes on, osteoblasts, those bone-forming cells, start doing their thing. They produce minerals like calcium and phosphate, transforming the soft callus into a hard callus. This is where the real stability kicks in. But we're not done yet. The bone undergoes a remodeling phase over weeks to months. Osteoclasts and osteoblasts work together like a dynamic duo. Osteoclasts break down excess bone tissue, while osteoblasts deposit new bone. It's a delicate balance until the bone is back to its original strength and shape. And voila! The final stage is consolidation. The bone regains its normal structure and strength, and the once broken area becomes less noticeable. It's like your body has its own remodeling crew, constantly renovating and improving. Mind-blowing, isn't it? Yet, the healing journey varies between short bones and long bones. Short bones, like the ones in your wrists and feet, generally experience quicker healing due to their compact structure, allowing for a faster regeneration of bone tissue. The healing of short bones often results in relatively swift restoration of stability. With 206 bones nestled inside of you and a world brimming with collisions, falls, slips, trips, and mishaps, it's no surprise that some face a break or two in their lifetime. And certain bones, due to their strategic positions in your bodies, appear to bear the brunt more frequently. So, what are the most commonly broken bones in the body? The fifth most common break is in the collarbone. Then comes the arm, the wrist, the hip, and with the most common break being the ankle. You're probably familiar with the sudden, sharp, and somewhat gross sensation accompanying rolling or spraining your ankles. Ankle fractures and sprains, both often accompanied by tendon damage, can cause swelling, bruising, and force the injured person off their feet. So there you have it, the extraordinary journey through the intricate world of bones, from breaks to their resilience. Now, before you go, your bones don't just keep you upright, they also play a vital role in producing blood cells, safeguarding your organs, shielding your brain, maintaining calcium levels in your body, and creating a sophisticated network of supports and levers that empower your muscles to move. But more on that in another video. So, next time you take a step, marvel at the intricate symphony of your bones, the silent architects of your every move. As the wise Susan Hampshire aptly puts it, your bones are for life. Look after them, and they will carry you far. Want to know more about how amazing our bodies are? Check out our video to learn 6 extraordinary facts about the human body.